For the same radio, drunk and alone. Traffic lights and transmit radio. I don't like the way they threw me in the car. I gave your name as my emergency phone call. Yeah, ring, even start you wrong. We're hanging up. I died drunk, I died for you.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:30. It is August 8th. Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Take a look at the disclosure before we get to it. All right. Good morning. By the way, I like this song. It's like a feel-good song. What you never should do is never dial drunk. Can only get yourself in trouble. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. I'm on time today. I really apologize. There's a big difference when I watch this back a few times, like when I'm here at 6:31 or 6:32. It's a long minute or two. It's almost like back in the day when I used to train for the Ironman. I did 2 Ironman. I've done 10 marathons. I used to, go meet guys bike riding, and we would meet at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday to do like a 80-mile bike ride to train. And if you were there at 5:31 or 5:32, people were pissed. You were sitting there in your spandex, look, cold because it's early in the morning. So I'll do my best to get on time. I did tell a few people, I'm like, hey, maybe you want a refund considering I charge so much money for the 6:30 Club. Anyway, with that said, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let's see who's tuning in. We got Hayden Martin in the house. We got EK. We got Space Specialist. What up from New City? We got Westfield always in the house. You should come to the Standard and have a red dog sandwich one day with me. Uruguay. We got Bobby 4.0. We got Ali. We got B-Well. We got everybody's kind of tuning in. I think everyone's a little tired. We've had a week. Yesterday, I saw a few memes saying, oh, my God, it's been a week. And they're like, well, it's only Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday. So with that being said, let's take a quick look at the chart of the SPYs because, it's been a very methodical week, I have to say. Like I was talking to my friend Pete on the way in, who I always talk to, who's been doing this for a lot longer than me. Believe it or not, there are a few people where at least things have been trading tactically in a way where you don't have to take on that much risk and you've been able to, make money. If you think about it, okay, real quick, just so you can learn again. If you look back at this chart, okay, let's look back. This is the SPYs. This was last Thursday, 1 week ago, right? Last Thursday, they gave you a way that you could have sold some longs if you, for some reason, got bullish on the FOMC. So on Thursday, you could have got out. You could have seen the red dog reversal sell, which is a fake out pattern, which we acknowledge. That's why I don't want you guys to get faked out. And then this candle was a pretty damn bearish candle. That candle should have gotten every tactical guy out of the stock market. All right, so then you didn't get hurt on Friday, okay, and that's when I was driving to Montauk. And then why would on a Friday when things felt so broken would anyone be so long? So that's why Monday, I think a lot of people were opportunistic and people were able to buy into the 510 area and make some good money. And it wasn't really that big of a move. And then if you do remember, we closed around 517. That's where I put my wife's blood in the street account to work. And you still had some time to play this gap fill. Remember this little gap that was right here? This gap was open. I'm like, hey, maybe we could play from 523 to 528, make extra money. Well, that was closed. And then yesterday, I'm like, guys, the 8 days been rejecting price since we've been in this corrective phase. I was long SPYs. I was short puts. I was long calls. And once we got to like 530-ish, I got out of my calls. I sold some SPYs. And I did something else. I don't remember exactly. And then, I was selling premium higher. I'm like, you know what? If we get up to here, which I don't know if we get up to, I'm very, very good with being short on Friday. They were giving me like $1.50 to be short 537.50. But anyway, and then we came in, got rejected, failed to hold, kind of looked like this candle. And then we just came in all day long. And I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, why would we give up 517, 518 so fast? Anyway, so now this morning, we're down a little bit. So each day there's been a thought. So today's thought is, are we going to probe into this open quadrant, right? If you want to make this into a box now, which just say this is your lower box, because this is after all this price discovery, this is what we know, this lower level, this area, this spot is open, okay, for now. So we don't know what's going to happen, you know, you know, today or tomorrow after the claims. Let's get this out of here. But what we do know is 517.87. That is this low. This is 518. When you're below this, anything could kind of happen because then you don't have a point of reference until like 510. And if you reclaim it, hey, who knows? Maybe then it bounces back into this end of it, and then all of a sudden you have another quadrant, and then you have, it's like you could put it in a lot of different areas. Then all of a sudden you have, this is one spot, this is the bottom spot, and then you have like 4 boxes, right? You can go like this. So, and it all depends on how you want to view it, so if you use your retracement. So now, if we were to reclaim this, does it bounce back to here and then get rejected and make a high, a lower high, and then head back down? Or does it stay below and then does it make a high, just, so there's a lot of little things that could happen, but you got to think about these things, in the morning, which is why I'm in the sauna in the morning, why I'm in the, what's it called? I'm in the cold plunge doing my thing. The SPYs right now are, down $1. So this is a pretty decent setup. If you got stopped out of your SPYs yet, if you sold strength and then tried it and then got stopped out, right, even like here when it couldn't hold the 100-day, well, then you have the chance to buy it today for a trade. We'll see when. Right now, you have the claims at 8:30, so it's going to create some volatility and probably change things because right now the market's very sensitive on rates, on whether how weak the economy is getting, etc. But at least this is the spot. Below this spot, anything could happen in here. If it claims this spot, this would probably be an area where if the guys who are in control from this candle want an H sell setup, then all of a sudden it comes in. For those who want to protect this 510, maybe it holds here and then reclaims that spot. Again, this is 1 week. We're working off the condition. There's really not enough news out there right now, in my opinion, to why would we be breaking 510 today, considering Japan's only down not even 1%. So they rallied back, 10% 2 days ago, and then 2% yesterday, only down 1%. So they're not falling apart. Europe's not falling apart. So today, I wouldn't think in your head all of a sudden we're going to be, breaking 510. That chances are somewhere in here you could buy and it comes up a little bit for a trade. So that's my thought. And all of these look the same, So, first of all, let's just go to the weekly chart real quickly. Someone's like, Red Dog, could you show me the weekly chart? Now, if you go to the weekly chart, here it is. At this point, you have 510. This is a pretty big zone. This is 493, 497. That is your 50-day, and big support here. If we break 510, which I don't think happens this week, it could be next week. We have the CPI next week. This would be your next likely spot. So you always want to kind of look past the daily charts to the weekly charts at certain points. So anyway, it's the same kind of concept, guys. It's not rocket science. Everything is trading together. That's why I said you don't have to be, trading 100 things. You could be trading the SPYs, the Qs, the SMHs. You could be looking at Nvidia for clues. You could be looking at for Apple for clues. You don't have to be in all these things. But anyway, look at the Qs. Looks very similar. Look at that. What's it called? A move right to the 8-day, couldn't hold 447, and now what do you have here? You have 434.50, you have 434.37. So now in order to see 423 again, same similar thing, it's got to stay below here, and then that's even more important because that's a 200-day. So first time you play with it, and then it starts getting worse. So the bottom line is, that's the thought for the day. The tactical thought for the day is, how do we handle this little spot? Right now, it's a little bit below, and a lot could change at 8:30. If you're in a rush to buy because you sold into the 8-day because you think we're going to bounce a little bit, then that's fine. That's what you're thinking. IWM did the same thing. IWM, didn't quite get back to all of the, the moving averages up here. Got above 207.25, hit 207.96, went red first, and that was it. I'm not really trading the IWM as much. Just, it's just not. It did tell you yesterday that it was going red because when the SPYs and the Qs were trying to push, it was done. And at the same time, Nvidia, was being sold. So that told you also that the semis, had no push. SMCI opened lower, tried to rally and failed. So the semis, we actually bought the SOXS yesterday. It was down $2-3 and made some good money in those calls. Anyway, so with that being said, today's kind of you don't want to overtrade day. So we'll see. And you look at mega cap tech, it's the same, same thing across the board. Yesterday I actually had a really good day trade in Apple. The for some reason, there was a sell imbalance. They opened it down $1, and I was able to buy it down $1, and then it was up like 5. The question now is, um, I don't know. You have this. It looked like it got above 210, went to this 213 area. This 2 has like a middle area now. This low is what? This is 206.39. So we'll see if Apple could hold that 206.39 area to keep it in the upper end, or does it go to the lower end? So this is the type of trading we have now. No stocks are making all-time highs. Someone asked me the other day, Red Dog, you played the last corrective phase very well. I'm like, thank you very much. I did buy the Blood on the Street account, here. And we did also buy the swing and the active account and whatnot. And in my head, I thought, hey, we could probably make a new high by the end of the year. It happened very fast in May. Someone's like, Red Dog, do you think that we're going to take out this 565 in the fall? I kind of think it's going to be tougher, to be honest. This might be the high of 2024, which doesn't mean you can't make money. It just means, after a historic move of 100% plus since the pandemic lows, with inflation, was a problem, and now you have, maybe a slowdown a problem, and you have this geopolitical unrest around the world and the potential of 2 administrations that kind of suck, in my opinion. But this is what we have in front of us. I would say that I like one person's policies a lot more than, whatever. But personality-wise, it's hard to deal with. But we're not going to get into politics. So anyway, dead spot, 596 down to 550. Yeah, okay, yeah. All of these high beta tech names look kind of the same. Again, I've been really just focusing. I've been trading the SPYs and the Qs, the semis, a little bit of Nvidia, and a little bit of Apple and whatnot, and selling puts and buying calls, and trying not to be too cute. And I'm actually at the highs of my year. Woohoo! Highs of the year, and the S&P's down 8.5%. That means we navigated these ranges well. But anyway, so Nvidia did give some clues, and Nvidia also, we talked about 108 as a key spot. And what did it do yesterday? Didn't get above it, or got above it for a half a second. They tried to squeeze, they couldn't. So, if you were long, and I was long Nvidia coming in yesterday, and I sold it up 4. And that was it. And I watched it all day for clues on whether the SPYs and the Qs and the SMHs were going to fail because of the weakness in Nvidia. And now what? Is it going to get back towards, the low of Monday? If it does, I'm sure that, a lot of things will. Here is your 200-day there. I don't know. Today, what's Nvidia doing? Nvidia is up a whole 18 cents. So volatility is constricting now a little bit. So, same thing here. Watch 98.70. It's above that. Does it open up 17 cents and push below it? And then how far below it does it get? Now, I guess, you have all these lower highs in Nvidia, 140, 136, 118, and now another lower high. All right. So what does that mean? Lower highs means the active sequence is still in control. But you're getting a few little trades and Q trades. We bought this on Monday. Now, I don't know. Well, if it breaks this spot, this 97, by the way, this 97 40 isn't as important anymore. This is more important now, the 200-day. So now this is actually the recent low. So you can have that there. And then you have the 200-day below. So, the lines kind of change a little bit. And then you could also go to the weekly chart, which I'm not going to do right now. Just not in the mood. So for today, I don't know. I guess this will give us a little clue because it's up, up a little. Does Nvidia go red, and does it get below this, and does it start to probe down into this area? I'm sure that'll tell us that the market's going to kind of do the same. Rolando Torres is asking me to put on T. I haven't looked at Ma Bell in a long time. Actually, last time I looked at it was here. Yeah, this it's acting well. You could say that this is showing some leadership. It's actually above the 8-day. It's trending. It doesn't move fast, as I guess there's a dividend in this and that. Okay. Someone asked me to put Palantir back up. This is, again, when you're in a corrective phase, they really don't let anything, just get up and go. I remember I was long a lot of Palantir here, and then when the market finally gave, that happened. So if you're long this, make sure you're long versus 25.57. That would be, your spot. It pushed above 27.50 and then gave you a little reversal because, again, I don't think anyone needs to really hold things right now, especially when they're not sure if we're going to take out 5-10 in the SPYs in the next week or two. So that will drag everything at one point. I talked to you guys about this Dash, super big move. A lot of big money loves this. So if you're not in Dash, maybe think about buying Dash around 115-ish if it happens. You did get a small red dog reversal yesterday where it pushed up, came back. If it has a spot, I would say this is where you should be buyable. I'll probably buy a little bit of this Dash here. But look at that movement. It's in a huge move lower this week. This went higher. So you always want to look at the you want to look at the relative strength. And listen, guys, at this point, I'm sitting in a lot of cash. Actually today, even more than the last 2 days, in my active account, my swing account, my option account, my box account, and I'm trading the ranges and I'm trying to take advantage of spots. Right now, this is a little bit of a weirder spot as far as 401k. Every month is being put to work. Someone said to me, Red Dog, did you see this chart? I thought this chart was pretty interesting. So I posted it. I posted some charts to my guys. So showing me this, okay, the monthly charts of the S&P cash. I do remember this. I traded through this. This was the decade of pain. This was after the go-go 90s. You had to consolidate for a long period of time before it went again. And you had this, you had a ascending channel that turned into a descending channel, ascending, descending. There was like 1,000 percentage points of gains that went nowhere, that you really had to trade and just trade the ranges. And then you had a new high move, another range, a new high move, another range. So some people are like, hey, Red Dog, do you think we can get in a range now for the next 2-3 years to absorb the inflation, absorb the elevated PEs in the S&P, absorb stuff? I'm like, it could happen. You got to put yourself in perspective. So this way, that means it's going to be hard to find stocks making higher highs and higher lows as they go through consolidation phases. So this is just something I thought was interesting. So I posted that. And then another thing that I thought was kind of interesting was this data right here that he was talking about, which you go to the chart report talking about how we were 8.5% off the highs, and that is very normal, right? Look at how many times we've had 5% drawdowns or 10% drawdowns, and this was only an 8.5 drawdown after being up 20%. So people are like, how did this happen? Oh my God, perspective. These things are normal. They happen in the market. Anyway, let's go back. So I do have a lot of things that I look at as well, and let's go back to TrendSpider. And you take a little bit from everyone that you have respect for, which I do have a lot of respect for a lot of people on Twitter. I am not a hater. I respect people's strengths, and I look at them and then I try and think about if it overlays with mine. That's the same thing that happens with the virtual trading floor. There are 500 traders there that are watching what I'm doing and taking what I'm doing and doing their own things based on my thought process. Like when I'm trying to buy something and it doesn't go up, they're like, ooh, Red Dog thinks it's going to go up and it can't go up. That means it's probably going down, and they're shorting, and it doesn't mean that I'm shorting it. But anyway, Lily, Lily, what's Lily doing? Lily, did it come out with its report? Oh, Red Dog might actually make a little money on this. Probably not. I took a shot on Lily, but we'll see. Wow, so hopefully, I bought these yesterday, the 840 calls before or Friday. No, when did I buy it? Did I buy it Monday or Tuesday? I think I bought them on Tuesday, and I have a little call spread on. But we'll see. I'm not getting excited, but that's cool. We'll see how it goes. It's early. I'm not counting my money. Never count your money with options until 9:30. So anyway, here's Lily. We'll see, where it can go. It was a 966. This is 819. This is probably where all the moving averages are. It's gonna be hard to get through. But at least my options aren't a zero, so that helps. Maybe. Well, it's again long way to go. Tesla's annoying. Tesla, it felt like it was going to get above this spot and then maybe see the moving averages near 214. So I bought a little options. Lately, the money that I'm losing in options is trying to anticipate a move that might happen overnight in a way that I don't want to have risk on, and that's not working. What's working is, trading each day, using the tactics, selling puts into areas for different stocks where I don't think it'll get to, buying options in the indices, but anyway, for next Friday, I figured, hey, if we did continue to rally a little bit, if it got above 203, maybe you could see up towards here, which from 270 to here, plus he's going to have an interview with Trump. I thought, hey, maybe it's worth a try. So that's why I did Tesla, but small. Risk is premium paid instead of sitting in it. Right now, at this point, I don't feel like I want to be sitting in things because it feels like a lot of things can happen that I might not want to happen. So again, I'd rather be in options, risk is premium paid, and trade intraday when I have more control versus the overnight news of whether it could be, Iran bombing Israel in a crazy war, whether it's Japan again, where, they say they're not going to raise rates anymore, but they really have to, or little things like that. But anyway, all right. So with that being said, Rich Love, I appreciate you. What's it's up? It's up. It's a nice 10%. Let's see if it holds. So take today, slow. Again, each day there's been a different way to make money tactically. So at this point, wait for the claims number at 8:30. Figure out, do we probe into this quadrant? We already probed into that one and got rejected here. Some people are like, well, Red Dog, do you think it undercuts 510 and does the same thing it did here? I'm like, well, it has to have some kind of fuel to get back down to Monday's low. Think about how the VIX was going nuts. That's how we get put in that low. So anyway, if I was a betting man, which I'm not a betting man, I trade for a living and I trade tactically, I would think that today, obviously we have to see the claims. The SPYs are not going to break 510. Maybe next week, maybe we want to test a 200-day next week, but or Friday. Today I don't see how. But anyway, doesn't matter. That's just a thought. At this point, we know where this is. Then we know if we were to bounce, this would be a resistance area that if it wants to take back only a portion of this, and then that be in control, or comes down here, could be buyable versus 510. So we'll see how it boils down. Listen, it's Thursday. I wish I had more for you. I'm not going to just make shit up. I don't do that. I'm just telling you my thoughts for the day, my longer term thoughts, and what I do each day to stay sane in this kind of unsane world. Control what you can control. That's your emotions. That's how you treat your family. That's how you treat your friends, and what you contribute to society. Yeah. The gods are watching. They say the best things you could do is when nobody's looking. Guess who is? Later, guys.